this is Miss Johnson. This week we are going to continue our unit of measurement, but instead of looking at test units, we're going to look at metric units, and we're going to start with length, just like we did last week. And you notice this page probably comes straight from your own workbook, so we're trying to make it easier for you to recognize the structure of things. So today we're going to look at metric units of length, and below the arrow there it reads, length is a measurement line between 2 points. So when you're trying to measure something and it's length from one spot to the next. Millimeters, centimeter, meter, and are units that are part of the metric system of measure for length. And then they give us some nice pictures to kind of each one would be like the world. So a millimeter is about as thick as 6 sheets of notebook paper. Well, and I have some paper here, and I know it's more than 6 sheets. So if I count out 6, and they're not pressed anymore because I've been writing on it, but that there, if you can see, is the width from my finger to the other is the 1 millimeter. So millimeters are to measure things that are pretty. Okay? A meter is about the length of a ladybug. If you could hold down a ladybug long enough to measure it, it would be about a centimeter. A meter is the height of your chair. You're sitting in a chair right now, that's about the height. Or think back to your class chair, that would be about a meter. Kilometer is about 6 city blocks. And it's kind of hard for us to imagine. You let's say walk the streets of Denver downtown, and you walk 6 city blocks. It's actually longer than a mile distance. Okay? So now we're going to look more through the rest of this. My work. Example number 1. Doug is growing carrots in his garden. He pulled out a carrot for lunch. The carrot to the centimeter. So just like we did when we did inches, you are going to line up the end of your object right here to 0. On the measurements start. And you really look at the ruler that you are. Some start 0 at the end of the ruler, and some might not. Every is a little bit different. Then Heather is all the way past 12, just a little bit past 12. So the carrot is closer to 12 centimeters. 11 centimeters. So let's see if I have it right now. I do. It is almost 12 centimeters long. Okay. Next page. There we go. Okay, some of this got it in, so I apologize, but I will read it to you exactly what it says. So up here at the top, before measuring the length of an object, always ask the length to decide which unit of measurement would be best to use. We don't know about a ruler that has centimeters and measure everything in our world in centimeters, because some things are too large and some things are just too tool to use. So for instance, if you have this desk here, so imagine sitting back at your desk, right? This example says, choose the best estimate for the length of a student's desk. So underneath there, you can't really see how many millimeters, but they actually 7 millimeters, 1 centimeter. Okay, we need to figure out what is most reasonable. Would it be wise to which is the thickness of 6 pages, almost from my finger to finger. I measure things in millimeters when I'm at a desk that I would set almost. Or would I measure them in more centimeters where we're talking? Okay, remember Ladybug's a little bit bigger. So I'm looking at that. They do give us some scenarios. 5 centimeters or 5 millimeters, which would be like taking those pages, notebook, and truly 30 notebook pages. 30 pages. I'm thinking if we did that, would be the way top of our desk. Would that give us a good measurement? Not so much, huh? That is no way. There we go. So I'm going to cross that one off. 50 centimeters. Well, be like up 50 ladybugs. Can you imagine 50 ladybugs lying by side, not moving? So then that we can actually use with. But we can still kind of imagine that. I don't know about that one. Let's come back to that one here in a minute. What about 50 meters? That would be like taking and lining all up. So have them up there. Not 50 of them because 6 pages give us. So we're looking at millimeters again. Be the best measurement to measure your desk. Not. Look back at centimeters. Centimeters, and granted, I don't think I a lady. I'm represented by a little bit because so there's 5 ladybugs. About 5 ladybugs with that meant of that desk. Probably, really and truly, if I had 5 ladybugs, they wouldn't even give me half the length of this desk that this is. Reasonable answer would be then what? Right. You're 50 centimeters. So the kind of hard to see because some of it's cut off. It says a desk has to be long enough to work are the best than millimeters, which is what we're about. Since 5 centimeters, 5 millimeters, and 50 millimeters, too small is 50 meters, centimeters. So our best in this light is what we chose. Okay? So think about go to try to measure things on tool to measure with it. Okay, so now is the direction. My screen is kind of sensitive. All right, well, I guess. For number with the grasshopper, they measure to the nearest centimeter. So when I made it, well, I know 1 centimeter is about grasshoppers are bigger than ladybugs. So I would say it has a centimeter, don't you think? So, do ladybugs? So I'm going to step to the side here. This is comparing it to something I already know. I'm going to actually measure it. So ruler right here. first line is best to get it there. And then my line right here is really, really close to the 3. Let me show you get a little better. Bottom side of my ruler goes in. Okay. Out of your knuckle to the other knuckle, and would back out. Scissors are much smaller, so you're going to see more. My ruler on here doesn't say centimeters, but if you have a ruler that has both and custom measurements on it, it'll what? Okay, but it's for us to use as these. I'm going to go back and that works. So again, now my lines. This one's a little bit 3 lines, and that's 3. Okay. Number 2. Choose the best fit for the kayak. Well, we get a real kayak in a rural kayak. You put it out of the lake while you kind of paddle along. Often people will fish right out of their kayak. Think about that. We would be looking at the meters. Maybe about that. I know that one centimeter is like but I know 1 meter is the height of air. And so that was 6 chairs. Kilometer, remember, like 6 blocks, not 6 blocks. Okay, so when I look at that, 6 could a grown sit in between them at that length and paddle away? I don't think so. I think that would be way too small unless you were a very miniature man. Okay. How about meters? So we're looking at 2 chairs, laying them down, like on the floor, side by side. Could a grown man sit in the middle and be able to have that length be enough to run a kayak? Possibly, huh? How about 6 chairs laid down side by side? Would that be big enough? Those two are I'm kind of thinking between those two, but let's see what D says. D is kilometers, and I know 1 kilometer is 6 city blocks, but whoa, 2 kilometers? That would mean 12 city blocks. Holy cow! I don't know about you, but I could not carry that kayak to the lake's shore or to the river. There's no way, so goodbye. Okay, now we're looking back at meters. Would it be more reasonable to have 2 chairs laying down side by side or 6 chairs side by side? Think about which one could you pick up, put onto your vehicle, haul it to the lake or the river, pull it back out and get onto the water. Now, if I laid 6 chairs down, that's kind of long. And I don't think I could pick something up like that. Even if it's made out of plastic, I would think it'd be pretty heavy and pretty awkward and probably would be longer than my car. So the best reasonable answer would be B. Now, I took the time to kind of process through all of those out loud because that's something you need to be doing in your own head as you work through these problems. Don't just right away choose the answer. Think about it. Compare it to something in the real world, whether it's the ladybug, the chair, the paper, or the city blocks. Compare it to something you know, and then narrow down your answers. That's the best way to solve a multiple choice question. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the next one. Here we go. And I kind of already set up my ruler here. But remember, we always want to estimate the length first and then measure the object to the nearest centimeter. So the estimated length, that looks bigger than my grasshopper. So I don't think it's going to be 3 centimeters. I'm going to say bigger than that. What about 5 centimeters? Because I don't think 4, looking at the centimeter marks, that it would be 1 more. So I'm going to write my estimate kind of up there just to get myself thinking about it. And then up here, put that line on 0. Doesn't like me. There. Ooh, I missed it by, you're right, 1 centimeter. So the actual length is 6 centimeters. Now, whenever you're giving an estimate, do we expect it to be 100% right on? No. An estimate is a roundabout guess. Now, if I said something like, oh, this is going to be 50 centimeters long, and it winds up being 6, then there's something going on. Either I am using the wrong side of my tool on my ruler, or I'm not thinking about the real length of what 1 centimeter is, meaning a ladybug, or maybe I'm just really not thinking about my estimation at all. So kind of narrow it in, again, based on what you know of a centimeter. All right, now, number 4, we're going to look at this button. Well, that button, I don't know about you, is less than the crab, right? And I'm thinking of it compared to the grasshopper even. I think it's less than the grasshopper. What about to a ladybug? So if my grasshopper was 3 centimeters, my ladybug we said was 1. I'm thinking the same thing you are. 2 centimeters is going to be my estimated guess. And now I'm going to have to swivel my ruler a little bit. There we go. So I have it at 0. Ooh, look at that. It's not quite 2, but remember it says to the nearest centimeter. And this is closer to 2 than it is to 1. So, that time we were spot on. But the only reason we were spot on is because we have measured some items already, and we could compare it between a ladybug and a grasshopper. And then you're going to be closer on your answers. Okay, we're going to skip the watch and the eraser because you're not going to actually be able to measure yours today. Instead, you're going to see problems more like what are at the bottom down here. So I want us to spend more time on that. So we're going to choose the best estimate for each length. We are not going out and measuring corn stalk, which is what this one says. We're just looking at the picture, comparing it to things we know, and trying to find the best unit of measure, okay, without using a tool to measure it with. All right, so we have millimeters. Ooh, I know 1 millimeter is, you're right, 6 pieces of paper. So if I have 2 of them, that would be 12, right? 2 times 6. Okay, centimeters is your ladybug. My pin is a little behind me. So 2 of them would be like 2 ladybugs. A meter is your chair. So that would be like having 2 chairs laid down side by side. A kilometer is 6 blocks, right? Sorry, I'm writing over the picture. 2 of those, though, would actually make this answer what? You're right, 12 blocks. Okay, so when we think about that, would we measure our corn stalk with paper, the thickness of paper, and only do 12 pieces of paper? I still think right here, I probably have more than 12, but would that be from my finger to the other finger the height of a corn stalk? Yeah, no. Okay, no way, no how. I'll get rid of it. Cross that out. See, we got to talk to ourselves. What are they like? One ladybug, teeny tiny. What about two? Maybe it's like that. Would that be the height of a corn stalk? Yeah, I'm with you on it. No way, no how. Goodbye. All right, how about two chairs laying down side by side? Ooh, we kind of talked about that in another problem. That was our kayak, right? So could a corn stalk be about as high as our kayak? Possibly. I don't know. Let's come back to it because I want to look at all the answers first. 2 kilometers. 2 kilometers we talked about is 12 city blocks. Wow. I'm just thinking if we had a corn stalk that big, we would never ever run out of food. We would have corn coming out of our ears. Popcorn. That doesn't sound too bad. But there's no way we can manage that much, right? So I don't know about you. That one is kind of a no way, no how one, too. So my answer probably is more likely 2 meters or about that height of a kayak. Boop. Okay. Number 8, length of an airport runway. So ignore the numbers for right now and let's look at millimeters. That's your paper. Whew. My penmanship is terrible off this today. Centimeters is your ladybug. Okay, meters is your chair. And kilometers is the blocks. Okay, so we're thinking about that. And I know that an airplane needs quite a bit of space to get up into the air. So they have this long kind of road that allows it to build speed so then it can capture the air and lift up. I know there's a lot more to it than that, but that's the gist of it. So I want you to think to yourself, would you measure it with the thickness of paper? Have 50 ladybugs? Have 5 chairs laying down? Or we know 6 city blocks, so 5 times 6 would be like 30. Why don't you think about that? Now, if you haven't come up with the answer yet, that's okay. Pause this video, think about it some more because you'll still see everything on there and try to solve it on your own. But if you're ready for it, we're going to throw away the no way, no hows, and we're going to find the answer. So, thickness of paper? No. Too thin. 50 ladybugs? Yeah, no. Oh, that would be total bug mania right there. 5 meters, 5 chairs laying down. Well, I would think that an airplane is bigger than 5 chairs laying down, so I'm going to say no, needs room to lift off. 5 kilometers? Bam. I think that might be a little bit big, but that's the most reasonable out of what's on there, right? Awesome. Okay, let's move to the next page, and we have a few word problems on here. We're just going to look at the top 2. A giraffe at the zoo is 5 meters tall. Name something else that is 5 meters tall. So I want you to think about this one for a minute. Pause this video, and I want you to write down a couple things that would be as tall as a giraffe. Okay? And I'm going to write down a few things. So pause the video so you're not taking any of my answers. Okay, I wrote 3 things down. Yours might not be the exact same thing that I came up with, and that's okay. But do they all kind of have something in common where they stand tall? If you have never seen a giraffe before, they are ridiculously tall. But you can kind of compare them to that. Okay, 10. Is the distance from Boston, Massachusetts to Phoenix, Arizona about 4,000 centimeters or 4,000 kilometers? And explain. Well, I know on a map, Boston is clear over on the East Coast, and Arizona is on the southwestern part of our country. It's quite a ways away. And over spring break, we went from Douglas all the way down to about Phoenix, Arizona, and it took us 2 days to get there. It was about 16 hours. So if I'm measuring it in hours, which length should we measure it in? Centimeters, remember, is like, ladybugs. 4,000 ladybugs? Yeah, really would not want to do that, but can you imagine 4,000 ladybugs? Would that get us from almost one side of the country to the other? Or 4,000 kilometers. Remember, 1 kilometer is a little bit more than a mile. So what would we use? Yeah, we would use 4,000 kilometers. And why? Well, because we know it's close to a mile, and that's a long distance away. Now, if we were measuring it on a map, that's a little different, but the map is meant to be used for our real world traveling. So in this case, 4,000 kilometers is the best estimate. Okay? All right, boys and girls, this is all that we are doing today. And we're going to start the next one for tomorrow. Okay, bye-bye.